Hello everyone. I hope all of you are doing good today. And I will give you a situation today. Suppose if you are in a business requirement workshop where you need to ask the question from your business to set up your application, and we don't know that from where should I start. This is a normal situation, and it happens normally if I'm a fresher or if I am new to the functional consultant role, or recently if I move from some other domain to a domain of HR, then we doesn't know from where to start. So don't worry, I am starting a new series where I will tell you what should be the question we should ask from our business so that we can get the right information, not only the right information, but also it will going to help you to configure the application in a correct way. So let me start this session. Let me share my screen with you so that you can see all the list of question and where it is having an impact on the Fusion application part. So this is the set of questions. So what I have done it over here, that question to the business, that what all question we need to ask from the business, and why to ask, because this is very important to for all of us, that why we should ask these questions and where it helps in the fusion design. And I am going to explain it also, that what exactly this mean by the design part. So this is questionnaire for the absence management module. If I have to configure an absence management module, what all questions we should ask from the business users. We should always check that whether the leaves that business is capturing, okay, it's like in a number of it's like in hours or in a day. Why this question is important for us is that so that we know whether the employees are working in an organizations are based on shift basis or part time. Like if they are on the shift basis and part time, then hours is calculation will be more easy, okay, and we can able to calculate the a particular overtime shift pattern or whatever in the basis of hours. But if it is standard, like they do not have any part timers or they do not have any shift base and they use the days, then define as a part of dates. Now where it is going to be get impacted in our fusion application design, it is going to get impact in my absence plan. So those who don't know that what is absence plan and absence management is there. So in fusion application, two components are important. One is defining the absence type, and another is the absence plan. Both in the absence type as well as in absence plan, this unit of measurement is important. Okay, so this will help us. So this particular question is going to help us to define the unit of measurement for my absence type. And also remember one thing, whenever we are doing a configuration, some configuration are reversible, some of them are irreversible. What does it mean? That if I do certain changes or if I require to do certain changes, I can do in current setup. But if I did some changes which is not able to do a change, yeah, it is having a long impact or complete setup need to be do redo it. So those we consider as a irreversible setup. So unit of measurement is one thing which is reversible if we start using an application of someone start using the transaction. So we have to be very much careful while defining the unit of measurement. If you have any further question on the on this particular part, put it in the comment section. I will respond to you. Another question is whether your organizations have permanent employees or it's direct hires or they are temporary. Why? Because there are certain leave policies are there which is only applicable to the permanent employees, and some of them are only applicable for the temp employees. Temp employees are there whose contract are for short duration, and again definition differ from country to country. But I am in general I am explaining it over here. What it is going to be get determined, why we should ask these questions, so it will help us to define the eligibility profile. Now based on the eligibility, now eligibility will come both in absence type as well as in the accrual plan as well. So eligibility profile will determine who should able to view what type of leave. So if an employee log into an application, so if I am seeing the drop down, okay, those who had seen the fusion screen, they can see the list of values coming in the absence type page. So this eligible profile will control that. Okay, so this is again an important question while we are doing a setup, we should ask from our business users. Second is the start date and the length of the accurate. Okay, now there is a concept called the calendar year, okay, or it is known as a plant term. Normally we call this as a plant term in fusion application. So it is two type. One is a calendar year. Calendar, it can be a financial year of an organization, which is can be from Jan to December, or it can be from April to March. Some organization maintain from July to June. So that's we define as a calendar year. So we need to see that on what basis you are accruing the leave days, okay, when the new balances get updated. So that is going to be get determined. if they are maintaining on a higher anniversary, that is on the date of joining, correct? So every employee will having a different accrual plan or different type of leave calculation. So where it going to help me in defining the accrual term. So this is another important question that we should ask from the business users. Another type is whether the leave calculation you are doing is basis on the calendar day or it is basis on the working day. Why it is important? Because it is important for setting up the accrual formula. If you know that if my leave plan or my leave entitlement is basis on the calendar day, then my weekends or public holidays will not be considered as a part of it. So what I am trying to say is that, suppose for example, if I have taken a leave from, say, a person or in an organization, Saturday Sunday is an off, and if I am taking a leave starting from Friday till Monday, if it is a calendar day, then system will calculate 4 days straightforward. But whereas if it is defined as a working day, okay, if it is defined as a working day, so system will going to be considered as a 2 days only. Why? Because it's exclude, okay, it is going to exclude the weekend. So we should ask that whether the days that we are going to define, or how your whether your calendar is based on working day or a calendar day, how and where. So this is going to help in defining my accrual formula. So in Fusion we can able to define the accrual formula. There we can put a proper setup of the days part. Another part is whether their employees basis on 22 days, 30 days, 45 days. And again, this varies. Some organization having based on positions, some are having a based on the number of years of period that they are working in an organization. Some organization follow the grade basis also, that how many days of entitlement they are going to be maintained. So again, we need to find out. This is going to help us in finding out my entitlement, as well as in some organization having a both, like some work on working day calendar day with 22 30 days, so which will require a separate leave plan as well. So this is another important question that we should ask from the our business users. Then comes when do annual leave accrual start for a new employee? Like if employee is joining in an organization, so whether he can or she can start the accruing the leave from the day one, or there will be a like a waiting period or a vesting period is there. If it is there, then we should apply the plan enrollment start date. Okay, so this is going to help even the eligibility start date as well as the plan enrollment date, and we can use the functionality that, okay, this is going to get impact on my accrual plan. Another question is when new hires, okay, when new hires are coming, okay, and when new employees are joining, or maybe any employee transferring from one business group, like from example from one country to another country, when they are allowed to take the leave, correct, when they can start allowed to annual leave accrual part. So this is again important part. So for example, in a scenario where employee is getting hired, okay, and this is no, you can we can hire you, but for 3 months or 6 months you cannot accrue a leave. Okay, so there we can use a waiting period functionality, as well as we can write accrual formula, our probation rule as well. Okay, probation rule as well, we can able to write it. Now, again, the accrual part, whether you are doing on the daily basis or a monthly basis, because some calculation differences are there. If I'm do a calculation on a day basis as well as monthly basis, so which will help us in define the frequency. So frequency we can able to define it, and it is going to help us. So when employees seeing on the daily basis the leave balances, they can see on the daily basis. But when I'm defining the monthly frequencies, then they can see the on the month end only. Okay, or we can put a start date as a start of the month. But most of the time we keep this frequency at the end of the month if it is a monthly accrual. Then ask how many days maximum, how many days they can carry over. Like for example, if I have 30 annual leave at the end of my plan days, so some organization allow to carry all their leave days, or some say no, we will allow you only 10 days to be get carryover. So this will help us in configuring my carryover rules, correct. Second will be there, like for example, if can employee encash it, like for example some organization follow it. Like there was a situation, some organization says that fine, if you're having a 30 days of annual leave, out of them maybe 15 days you can leave in cash, 15 days you can able to carry over, or maybe at the time of your final settlement or when you're leaving the organization you can encash it. So this will help us to determine whether we need to write a rule at the time of final settlement calculation, or when we are defining the accrual carryover plan. So this I can able to decide it based on the calculation whether I am going to pay to the leave encashment or not. Now, some cases are there that any exceptions. Are you maintaining some of the exception? Like few employees, maybe they are working as a consultant, or maybe they move from some other organization, or maybe they have some maybe a special arrangement in an organization. So, are they all entitlement for the annual leave? Like some scenarios will happen, like people are working as a temp, but still they are entitled for the annual leave, whereas some organization they are working as a temp but not even entitled for the annual leave, and we can need to define a separate leave plan. So is there any exceptions? Are they handling any exception based on the interns, based on the probation period, based on the grade? So this will help us to determine the eligibility as well as the validation formula. We can use the validation formula as well. Now, important aspect is approvals. How you are managing the approvals for your annual leave. Like for example, if it is going to be get submitted by employee, or whether the line manager need to be get defined, or once the line manager approve it, whether it go to the some further level of approval or not. So this is going to help us to define the workflow for the approval. So this is also we need to check it, that how we can able to define the workflow. Now, can employee apply more than accrued leaves? Yes. So sometime what happen, like if I am eligible for say 22 days in a month, or sorry, 22 days in a year, but I may need to apply for maybe 30 days. Now, are you allowing employee to take leave more than the leave balance? Now, if this situation comes out, yes, then we have to configure a negative leave balance rule as well. Okay, so this will help you to configure the negative rule as well. Can employee avail annual leaves before the completion of accrual term? Now, sometimes what happen is that earn and burn policies happen. Like for example, I am accruing every 2 days, or I am accruing like end of the month, or maybe end of the year. So, can the employee take all leaves in advance? Yes. So, if this says yes, so we need to define the accrual policy like a front load is there, so that we can able to use that functionality. Check if any other validations are there, like for example any exceptions given on the overlap, like I can able to apply the overlap rule, or do not take a probation period, or for example if any public holidays comes, we need to deduct it directly, manage it. So this will help us in writing the validation formula, right? Can employee apply for a half day leave? Some, like if I am defining the full day leave, okay, like a calendar day leave is defining, not in hours. So check whether the employee can apply on the half day of full day. Then we can use the partial day setup rules. So these are like few questions, and this is like the primary I had given a idea, like this is how you should able to organize your question when you are working with the business users. Okay, so these questions are primarily, but it is important, we always have to keep in our mind that what type of question we should ask, and what is the business logic behind it, and where it going to help us in the fusion design. I hope you have understood these questions. And if you think that you need a little bit of more explanation on any of these questions, how and where it's going to be get set up, do put on a comment, okay? And we will respond back to you with your questions and queries. Furthermore, if you require this Excel template to be there with you, do let us know. We will share it with you. So I hope